All right, guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about something that came out, I think, last week, towards the end of the week. Some news came out about Alex Pereira. One account, some reporter or journalist or something on a stream or something like that, said that Alexander Volkov at heavyweight versus Alex Pereira was rumored to happen. And first of all, it didn't make any sense because Alex Pereira is a current champion. If he was going up, he would get a title fight immediately. I think that at least in modern UFC history, recently in the last 10 years or so, I don't believe that any champion who was current champ that went up fought in a different weight class, not for a title. Usually they go straight into a title match. I know that guys like Aljamain Sterling or Davison Figueiredo, after losing their title, they went up and they didn't get an immediate title shot, but that also makes sense. They lost their title, came up in a new division, and had to earn it a little bit. But they probably would have had quicker runs to the title if they kept winning. If Figgy beat Peter Yan or Sterling beat Evloev, they'd probably both be next for their respective titles. But this is different because Pereira is still a champion. So that wouldn't have made any sense, especially because that's a losable fight for Pereira against a guy who's huge for heavyweight, gigantic. He would have been bigger than Pereira. Striking wise, probably close with him. And I would have thought that he would be competitive in the striking. And then on top of that, he has grappling. He could grapple. Did it against Gane. He's done it in a few fights now. And that would have been a terrible idea, but not one that the UFC would have done. There's no way. And the fact that I think the whole episode kind of was just an indictment on MMA media, which we know has been going downhill for a long time now. But the fact that people, because I've been a part of it. I've done some MMA media of my own, and I know how these people go. The second something drops, they want to be first. They want to be first. They want to talk about it. They got to put it out. They got to put it out. But they don't even bother fact checking or even considering, like, maybe I'm just spreading fake news. And everybody just ran with it. Within like 30 minutes of it coming out that this reporter said it, every single outlet had an article about it. Volkov versus Pereira rumored to be happening. Like, come on. It was honestly pathetic and sad. As a fan of MMA, media doesn't even try. Like, they're just dialing it in. Whatever new news clickbait that comes out, they just run with it. Don't even bother checking if maybe there's any truth to it whatsoever. So that was annoying, but it happens in the space. But then Helwani came out and said that the actual fight that's rumored to happen is the one that everyone's been waiting for: Pereira versus Ankalaev. Finally, poor Ankalaev getting the title shot again. He's had to go through some stuff to finally get there. UFC just kept denying him, and I understood why. I knew from the beginning there was no way it was Pereira who was ducking or avoiding the matchup. I know Pereira would take that fight. Pereira doesn't seem to me like a guy who would avoid a fight he thinks he can lose. He seems to me like a guy that if he thinks he can lose, he's going to want to prove it to everybody and himself that he will win. So I never thought that he was actually ducking, but I do think that the UFC was ducking that matchup because they love Pereira. Pereira is one of their biggest stars right now with Conor out of the picture. Everybody loves the guy. There's very few people who don't like Pereira. And he's an exciting guy who constantly knocks people out and has wars on the feet. So they didn't want to put him up against Ankalaev, where Ankalaev could wrestle, could beat him in a relatively boring fashion for most people. I like grappling, but I know that I'm on an island there. And I can understand it from the UFC's perspective, but I am glad that they're finally doing it. They're making the matchup. It makes sense. Pereira's only going to have another 1, 2, 3 years at max, considering he's 37, 38 now. So makes sense to finally do it. I do think Ankalaev's going to win. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I'm going to see what the line looks like. I might already be out, but I don't know what it is. I think Ankalaev 60%, 65%, maybe even 70% makes sense to me. I do think that he can get takedowns relatively easily. I think he'll be able to control Pereira. And on the feet, yeah, Pereira's Pereira. He's a beast. But I actually think that Ankalaev is a great striker in his own right who hits pretty hard. And I think he could be competitive with Pereira striking and then mix in the grappling. So I'm glad that matchup's happening. Really looking forward to it. Was kind of hoping that Hamzat would get the shot just because I played his future at light heavyweight at plus 5,000 just based on a rumor. But I knew I was probably losing that futures bet. It was just a long shot. But either way, Ankalaev versus Pereira seems to be next, at least according to Helwani. And Volkov Pereira is not happening. There's no way. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.